let's get into Thursday night football. We got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Big news for San Francisco. Obviously, Deebo Samuel will not play. Brock Purdy banged up, but it looks like he is going to play. Kenneth Walker is questionable. I believe he was estimated as limited on Monday. So it looks like he could be back for Seattle. But who do you like in the captain spot?
Got to go Christian McCaffrey here. He is dealing with a knee injury, so that's something to pay attention to on the short week. Either way, I'm assuming he will play, and I'm assuming they will lean heavily on him here against the Seahawks, who are a great matchup. You know, they've allowed the most PPR points per game against opposing running backs, so it's a good spot. Like you said, Deebo Samuel's out, Brock Purdy's banged up, so you know they're going to want to lean heavily on Christian McCaffrey. So he's clearly, you know, the optimal captain play here, assuming he's closer to 100%. So I'm not going to get too crazy here. I think there's a lot of interesting dart throws that we can take. So I think just going chalking the captain slot makes sense on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey is just so far above everyone else. I think you have to, have the most exposure to him in the captain spot, against the Seattle team that, I mean, they could not stop the Panthers from running the football a week ago. And they ranked 31st in DVOA on passes to running backs, in addition to ranking 26th in run defense, DVOA. So this is a bad run defense. And if you saw that Panther Seattle game, I mean, there was no secret about it. Panthers were just lining up, running the football, and Seattle could not stop. It didn't matter who it was, the first string, second string, third string. So, I like McCaffrey in this spot. I think he, obviously Metcalf, Lockett, you could have a big game, but the projection for McCaffrey just is so much higher. All right, who do you like for dart throws?
So the 49ers side, got to go with Ray McLeod here. He's essentially Deebo's direct replacement. And while he's nowhere near as talented as Deebo, it is a role that could come in handy in this matchup. I think the 49ers offense will be pretty conservative here, especially with Deebo out. But, McLeod's a guy that they can use heavily around the line of scrimmage, including direct handoffs. He saw 3 carries last week for 7 yards. That's similar how the Steelers use him as well when he was in Pittsburgh. So I think he has a pretty high floor here. And again, he has a high ceiling just being in Deebo's role. He could end up getting 3, 4, maybe 5 catches here. So on a 1-game slate like this against the Seahawks, I think he's the way to go. And then on the Seattle side, got to go with Marquise Goodwin. He's their clear number 3 wide receiver right now with D. Eskridge on IR. Goodwin ran a route on 79% of Geno dropbacks last week. Unfortunately, he had a good game. He got 5 balls for 95 yards and a touchdown. So his rostership might be a bit inflated here, but I still like him on the 1-game slate. The 49ers, they rank top 10 in DVOA against top 2 wide receivers, and they rank 31st against all other wide receivers. So, the Niners, they're going to focus on trying to slow down DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So that could allow, Goodwin to get open for a couple big plays. And that's really what we're looking for on a single game slate like this. So give me a Goodwin on the Seahawks side.
Yeah, I like Goodwin as well. He's actually pretty priced up. He's not really even dart throw. No, he's 6,400. He's like mid tier at this point.
That'll probably help curb his rostership then, just coming off the good game last week. So that makes me like him even more.
Yeah, and I love McLeod too. I think he, like you said, he's the Deebo replacement. He can get some things going against zone coverage that the Seahawks like to run. But I'm gonna go Jordan Mason in this spot. He got 11 carries against the Bucks, and this is a matchup where the Niners, just because their overall team strength is so strong, they could be in another very positive game script here. And it is a short week, so either way, I think you might see him take on that full Elijah Mitchell role and potentially even get 14, 15 carries in this spot. I mean, we've seen Mitchell do that. Mason 8 and 11 the last 2 games, so really like Mason. And on the Seattle side, I go with Noah Fant. I think, he's kind of priced down here, and he's one of their top route runners versus zone coverage, and the Niners play a lot of zone. So, Seattle is going to use all these tight ends on the field in addition to Goodwin. So Fant's getting the most routes out of those tight ends. He's getting more than Disley, more than Parkinson, who's a number 3. So like Fant to pop here, just kind of a bet on talent in that, for Seattle. They don't really have any other clear dart throws that you like. They're not really playing their fourth receiver a ton. Treadwell, he's only getting a couple of routes per game. So really not many other places to go with Seattle besides the tight ends.
Yeah, no, I love the Mason call. He is clearly CMC's backup. And like you said, he's the full Elijah Mitchell role. Ty Davis Price was inactive. He was a healthy scratch. Kind of reminds me of the Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell thing last year where, Mason was undrafted. Davis Price is a 3rd-round pick. It's very similar, but that goes to show that's the 49ers offense for you. But I think he's a good leverage play. Clearly, CMC is the best play on this slate. Should be the captain play on most of your teams. But you got to have some lineups where you use Jordan Mason and no Christian McCaffrey, just in case, McCaffrey he's already entering the game banged up, but he could re-injure himself or something. And Mason could have a huge game. So I like having a couple of lineups with just Mason in it, and CMC is good leverage on a site like this.
Yeah, what do you think about Juszczyk here in this one?
Oh yeah,
played 41 snaps last game.
Yeah, obviously, you were attacking his unders when they signed Christian McCaffrey, but I think with Debo out, that gives him a path to see a couple extra targets. But yeah, he's one of the better fullbacks when it comes to just usage. Like you said, he's Kyle usage. He's going to see 40% routes run rate or something. So he could easily catch 3 or 4 balls. And on a say like this, that is certainly more than enough. So what do you think about it? What's his price right now? Is he cheap enough? Usually he's like dirt cheap.
He on DraftKings, he is 3K. So he's priced up a little bit. But yeah, I would definitely use. I mean, he played 41 snaps, didn't really do much, only 2 catches on 2 targets for 7 yards. But he could be very involved with this. They got to try to keep it on the ground. So I think McLeod is a gadget guy. I think Mason, and I mean, because it's a short week, I would even take some dart throws on the 3rd running back, whether it is Davis Price or they elevate Tevin Coleman, just because, as you mentioned, McCaffrey's banged up and it's a short weekend. There's no Debo. So now you could get a 3rd back involved, not necessarily like it might not be McLeod for just the full Debo role. So yeah, I think Davis Price or Coleman is a good dart throw. Just pay attention to who they elevate. If they elevate Coleman, he's going to be the 3rd back. If they don't, it's going to be Davis Price.
Yeah, and on Seattle side, Nick Ballard, we can just safely ignore him. I don't think he's seen a touch this year, but he is their fullback.
Yeah, he plays a couple snaps here and there, but usually it's run blocking. Hasn't.
Yep.
One day they'll probably do a play fake them at the goal line, but
he'll probably be here now that we're talking shit about him. But can safely ignore him usually and be fine with that.
I don't think he has a route this year.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah.
No touches.
Nope.